Lords, I thank the Noble Lady, the Minister, for her response and everyone who's taken part in this short but remarkably debate marked by a remarkably strong degree of agreement. Everyone agrees that home energy efficiency is something that we really need to take vital action on. And I was reminded of a stat which I learnt probably a dozen years ago, that British homes were, in terms of energy efficiency, the second worst in Europe, behind Lithuania. Now, I'm not quite sure how Lithuania has done in those 12 years since then, but I know that we have made very little progress. Now, I'm just going to pick up a couple of technical points very briefly. The Noble Lord, Lord Jamieson, and indeed the Noble Lady, the Minister, both talked about local authorities having enforcement powers, or indeed enhanced enforcement powers. But of course you can only take enforcement when you have the information, the data, that enables you to know when to take action. Just guessing which might be the homes that aren't great is not a really effective way to proceed. I want to thank the Noble Lady Baroness Brenda for the Lib Dem support for this amendment, and also for embracing Kirklees. Everyone wants to embrace Kirklees, and really where we want to get to is a situation where we can embrace every town and city in the country with the same kind of project, particularly with those street-to-street type arrangements. Just one final comment. The Noble Lady Baroness Hayman spoke about the long-term policy certainty, which reminded me of going, I think it was in 2012, to the UK, to the Insulate UK. It was the insulation industry's annual expo, and the whole industry was shutting down because the funding had disappeared. And that boom bust has been an enormous problem. And we haven't mentioned yet, but of course we're talking also about huge numbers of opportunities, particularly for small independent businesses in every country, in every town and city up and down the land, if we find the funding and if we find the data and the push to make it happen. So I will reserve the right to come back to this to technically look at the details, but in the meantime, of course, I beg leave to withdraw the amendment.